And the jobs report is just a few minutes old, beating expectations by adding 295,000 jobs last month. Unemployment rate fell to 5.5%. It looks like we are headed solidly in the right direction here in the economy. I want to bring in Republican reaction to these numbers. Joining us now is Congressman Mike Turner. He's a congressman from Ohio's 10th District and also a senior member of the House Armed Services Committee. Does a lot right now talking about Russia and, of course, ISIS and what is going on. But first, before we head overseas, though, Congressman, look, again, this is a good jobs report. The White House can pound the table and say they've done enough for the economy. The Republicans should stop criticizing them.
Well, Betty, I think what you see is a stable economy, but people certainly aren't seeing an economy that has the growth that we need in order to recover from the Great Recession and even look to an area of prosperity. We're not seeing wage growth. We're not seeing the types of job increases that really provide the middle class with the stability that they need for economic mobility. So overall, I think it certainly shows a stable economy. People feel that our economy is not at risk, but it doesn't show the types of growth that people expect to be able to participate in a growing economy.
Well, and I would agree to the extent that, look, we don't really have our house in order here in the U.S. quite yet, right? I mean, we're still fighting over immigration. We just passed this bill to fund, the Department of Homeland Security. I know you voted for that clean bill. But are you worried that that is really detracting then from the larger issues abroad, which I know you're focused on, which is fighting ISIS, and in your view, arming Ukraine?
Absolutely. I think there certainly is a distraction in the administration as to what some of the priorities are of the real threats to our country. As we see Russia's aggression in Ukraine and the invasion that the administration won't even call an invasion, we certainly know that this represents a threat to our European allies and ultimately to the United States. ISIS is a growing threat, and not only is it destabilizing a great portion of the Middle East, but it's certainly a threat that we see, as we've seen the instances in Paris, the threat to the Mall of America.
And we have several hundred, by the way, 180 Americans who've gone and joined ISIS. I mean, that's incredible.
Right. You see, 21st century communication tactics with an organization that is very medieval in its practices.
Right.
So we have the horrors, but at the same time, recruitment and communication happening at technological level.
So what do you make of Iran? Iran now helping try to take back Tikrit. I mean, what do you make of that?
Iran has always been active in promoting terrorism, funding Hamas, funding Hezbollah. Certainly, as you look to the area, they are not a stabilizing force; they're a destabilizing force. So any actions that they take in the area tend to be, toward Iran's interests. Now, ISIS itself, of course, represents a destabilizing threat, but one also that I think Iran sees as a threat also.
They do see that. Now, in Russia, you don't believe the ceasefire is going to hold? You think we should still arm Ukraine?
Well, it's not holding. I mean, almost immediately after it was signed, Russia undertook a great push for a land grab and then has continued to destabilize the area. Russia has long-term plans for taking the Ukraine, and the United States needs to respond by arming the Ukraine. All
right, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good to see you here. Congressman Mike Turner, we're going to be back in 2 minutes with much more on the jobs numbers. We'll be back.